Why did Fox fire their highest-rated primetime host, Tucker Swanson McNear Carlson? Was it because of the Dominion case? Because of his texts attacking his bosses, apparently? One thing we do know is that it wasn't because of the racism and white supremacy he mainstreamed on his nightly show at 8 p.m., from pushing the neo-Nazi Great Replacement theory to targeting and harassing prominent black women to going after immigrants and refugees. For those who are in denial about this, don't take it from me. Take it from Tucker. Roll the tape.
White supremacy, that's the problem. This is a hoax. There's no evidence that white supremacists were responsible for what happened on January 6th. That's a lie. We have a moral obligation to admit the world's poor, they tell us, even if it makes our own country poorer and dirtier and more divided. Demographics. Remember the Great Replacement theory? Was it a conspiracy theory? It sounds more like a statistical fact. Ilhan Omar is living proof that the way we practice immigration has become dangerous to this country. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, herself a symbol of America's failed immigration system. Can a single human being actually be as loathsome as Ilhan Omar is? It's hard to believe. Diddy Montel Williams, is something that's within her range of experience. Is she good at it? We can't say, but she's done it. Just for masochistic reasons, can you do one more time? So it might be time for Joe Biden to let us know what Ketanji Brown Jackson's LSAT score was. What the hell did she do in the LSATs? They think that you should be elevated in America based on what you do, on the choices you make, not on how you're born, not in your DNA, because that's Rwanda. Rwanda. We're still not precisely sure how George Floyd died. Very few unarmed black men are killed by white cops these days. Where's George Floyd when you need him? The only job training program this administration has gotten behind in 2.5 years is getting black people to sell more weed in the cities. You never see politicians transition into, say, Malcolm X. Why is that? Maybe because Malcolm X didn't talk like a sharecropper. Xenophobia! It seems almost antique. This show, more than any other show on television, has taken an aggressive position in favor of colorblind equality and against racism.
Now, having watched all of that, can you believe that some people, even some on the left, are saying Carlson was a populist on TV, a champion of the people? Some on the left could do business with even. Tucker Carlson may be gone from Fox, but he's left behind a toxic legacy of racism, xenophobia, and misogyny. And yet some on the left, on some of the weirder parts of the left, I kid you not, are trying to paint Carlson as a man of the people who challenged the status quo. In their write-up of Carlson's exit, the progressive outlet, The American Prospect, wrote, quote, "He tapped into populist insights, cutting through left and right-wing echo chambers and putting hard questions to corporate executives and members of the political establishment." Yes, because when I think of a man of the people, I think of Tucker Swanson McNear Carlson. And also that Carlson's misogyny played a role in his firing. He has a history of sending texts in which he refers to women in demeaning ways. There's the possibility that his texts, some of which are still redacted, may have much worse stuff about even women who work at Fox. We know that former Fox producer Abby Grossberg has talked about a climate of sexism and misogyny. You yourself have been a victim of his sexism. You've written about how he once called you the C word. What a guy Tucker Carlson is that we can't work out if he was fired for his racism or his sexism.
Yeah, but we know it's not both. I think you've done a really good job of showing that it's definitely not racism. They didn't care about the racism. Do they care now about the misogyny? It might cost them money because Abby Grossberg has 2 lawsuits against them. And he might have referred to somebody way, way, way up at the top of Fox as that word that he likes to use. So, it's not because they suddenly said, oh, my God, he called Joan Walsh the C word, and he's called these other people. He's on Bubba the Love Sponge, whatever, calling women the C word and saying sexist things. No, they did not care. Yeah. It could cost them money. It maybe did cost them money, and it could embarrass the network even further. So it's appalling. Yeah, the lines that you cross at Fox are not the racism, sexism lines. It's the don't bother the boss class and cost money lines. Although I notice a lot of other hosts who cost them money. I wonder what they're thinking this week about.
The cable news networks are here tonight. MSNBC owned by NBC Universal. Fox News owned by Dominion Voting Systems. Your favorite Fox News reporters were able to attend because they were fully vaccinated and boosted. This year, with that $787 million settlement, they're here because they couldn't say no to a free meal.
Eamon, what you didn't see in that clip, you saw some of the cutaways, people smiling and laughing. There were no cutaways to the FAUX tables. And I happened to be on an MSNBC table that was right next to the FAUX table where Suzanne Scott, FAUX CEO, was sat with Kellyanne Conway, Bill Barr, and others. And it was stony-faced silence throughout. Every time Biden or Roy Wood made a gag about FAUX, we all turned to look at the FAUX table. And in fact, Susan Scott, who somehow survived, there was talk that Rupert Murdoch would throw her under the bus. Instead, they threw Tucker Carlson under the bus. She actually got up and walked out after the Biden comment. She didn't stay for the Roy Wood roast of her network. Funny that.
Yesterday, Carlson got fired from his job at Fox News, and it was a huge surprise to everyone, including Tucker. Apparently, they only told him 10 minutes before announcing it publicly, which is so cold. I mean, that's barely enough time to pack up all his Nazi memorabilia. Not to mention, he was Fox's most popular anchor, and they still fired him. That'd be like if MSNBC fired... imagine if there was a show people watched on MSNBC. It would be like firing them. And look, I know people love making fun of Tucker, but just put yourself in his shoes. Say you're this massive piece of shit with no real friends, and you gotta giggle like a Tickle Me Elmo and a dumb floppy haircut, and you always have your mouth hanging open like you're drying your teeth. I forgot where I was going with this. Tucker's an asshole.